Assalamu alaikum. This is the lesson of history class 8 Baradari campus Gujarat. Students, today we will complete our first chapter, consolidation of the British rule, and we will complete the long answer question, and you have to write all these long answer question on your notebooks. Question number 2 is write an analysis on Indian Act 1861 for the inclusion of native people in government affairs. Answer is the British government implemented the Act of 1861 to include the local people in government affairs. Heading is Indian Councils Act of 1861. The act was passed by the British Parliament. Number 1 is under this act the Indian people were included in Governor General Council for the first time in the history of India, and the process of transfer of powers to grassroots level started. Number 2 is provincial governments of Bombay and Madras were partially allowed to legislate. Viceroy would approve the laws of provincial legislative assemblies. Bill on religious practices of any community or foreign affairs were to be presented with prior approval of President of Provincial Legislative Council. Number 3 is the Governor General was given power to nominate at least 6 or maximum 12 members to his council, with half of the members as non-official. Now question number 3 is write a note on the colonial economic policy of British government. Answer is economic policy of British government. The British government had taken the following steps to implement their economic policy. Number 1 is the British introduced new system of taxes, measurement and weight and introduced new currency. Number 2 is a proper system of railway and roads were established, developed canal system and constructed bridges over canals. Number 3 is a law of ownership of properties was introduced, free trade was encouraged and the import duty on clothes was reduced. Number 4 is the government improved the system of civil services. Now question number 4, which steps for reform of communication systems of India taken by British government? The answer is the British had established the communication system for own benefit, but the people of subcontinent also got benefited from it. The increased interaction and exchange of things among the people resulted in trade development. The postal and telecommunication systems had positive effect on the people. Means of communication are very important for the economic development and stability of a country. During the British period, railway was the fastest means of communication. Therefore, railway lines were spread all over the subcontinent. Railway stations were established in the important cities. Railway gates were constructed on railway crossings to facilitate the citizen. Now question number 5, the British government brought which social changes for the reform of Indian society? Answer is the first heading is caste system. There was a caste system in the Indian society. Hindu society was divided in Brahman, Vaishya, Kshatriya and Shudra. Number 2 heading is prohibition of sati. In 1829, Lord William Bentinck had prohibited sati in Bengal and declared it unlawful. The British government allowed the widows to remarry. And number 3 heading is underage marriage. Underage marriage of girls was a common practice in India as they were seen to be an economic burden. The British government made a law under which age of marriage was fixed at 14 years for girls and 15 years of boys. And last heading is payment of marriage. The British government had abolished this cruel and inhuman tradition. Question number 6 is write a note on Central Legislative Committee under the Indian Act of 1919. Answer is Indian Councils Act 1919. Number 1 is under the Act of 1919 the Central Legislative was enlarged and reformed. It became bicameral legislature for all the Indian. The lower house was the Legislative Council of 144 members, and out of which 104 were elected and 40 were nominated for the tenure of 3 years. The upper house was the Council of States consisting of 34 elected and 26 nominated members for the tenure of 5 years. Number 2 is the Executive Council of Governor General was consisting of 8 members including 3 Indians. The act introduced a diarchy system. Diarchy कहते हैं झंझट को. Diarchy system for the provinces. In each province there were transferred and reserved list. The transferred list included local government, health and education, which were under control of councils of ministers while reserve list included defense, foreign affairs and communication, which remained under control of viceroy. Number 4 is there will be direct election and an extension of communal franchise to Sikh community.